Hi everybody, welcome to my loft. Rusty Blackwood here, and a very happy and blessed winter solstice to everybody. It's December 21st, and we are now in the very first day of winter, and it is Yule today for those who celebrate Yule, and and in just a very few days, it's going to be Christmas Day. And once again, and it's been a while since I've done a video. I think my last video was Halloween or before Halloween, and I've been quite busy. I've been, for those of you who have been following me, you know that I released my follow-up. This is The Perils of Autumn, and this is the story that began with this sequel that I'm going to show you in a second entails. The story begins here, and I'm very proud of this novel. I put this novel out in January of 2019, and it garnered a 5-star from Reader's Favorite Books, and I entered it in a couple of contests that year, and it took one of 6 finalists in the International Book Awards, and then in the Best Book Awards, a different contest that I put it in, it garnered finalist in that as well. So I'm very proud of this story. Um, I've often said if I could, if I could actually live in one of my books, one of my stories, it would be The Perils of Autumn at Landon Lawn Stables at Landon Manor with Cyril Landon and Autumn and Agnes and little Abby, and just a delightful story, even with Duff Taylor, who is the nemesis of this story. And so I hope for those of you who haven't picked up a copy of this book that you will, look it up. It's on Amazon, and you go to the order desk of any one of your favorite bookstores and you can order it there. And so when I was doing The Perils of Autumn, as I was nearing the end, I was thinking that I didn't really want to end it there, the story, because as you go as a writer, as you write, you become very involved and consumed in the story that you're writing, and there's usually always something more coming to you, even though you've already got it figured out. You blocked it out, and you know what you're going to write in your story. But as you go on, oftentimes different ideas come to you, and different characters come to you, and so you want to lengthen the story. Well, in order to do that, it would have turned The Perils of Autumn into another grand scale, like Passions in Paris, Revelations of a Lost Diary turned out to be. And I kind of learned the hard way that a grand scale it might be great for the author because you're telling your story in one novel, in one book, whereas sometimes people that are reading it, the weight of the book or the length of the story can put them off and things like that. So I decided I wasn't going to turn The Perils of Autumn into another grand scale. So in order to continue the story and take it where I wanted it to continue on to, I decided to do a sequel. And this sequel is in 2 parts because there again, it's too much to put into one book. And so this is the very first part. It's called Return to Autumn. And this book, I released it last month on November 16th officially. It was available on Amazon before then, but I officially released it on November the 16th. This book is available on Amazon. It is also a 5-star. It garnered a 5-star from Reader's Favorite Books, and it's garnered it's been given a few very good reviews as well. And this just continues on from where The Perils of Autumn leaves off. This book picks up 4 years later and takes you back to Landon Lawn Stables and Landon Manor and the entire crew there, the people that live in the manor and those who live at the stables, and help this stable to be the prestigious name that it has become in the professional racing world and in Kentucky. And so I'm just going to read a little bit. I'm going to read the back of this. Just give me a moment and I will get my glasses. I should have had my glasses available here for me so I didn't have to go out of screen there. But anyway, this is Return to Autumn, Part 1. Are you ready to take the ride throughout the pages of this long-awaited 2-part sequel to the 5-star multi-award winning romantic fiction drama, The Perils of Autumn? The Meadows of Kentucky awaits your return. The first, the anticipated romantic fiction drama, Return to Autumn, picks up 4 years later and sweeps you back to the often perilous life at Landon Lawn Stables. It is now April 1976, and life in Landon Manor has carried on for Autumn Leaves Landon and her mature husband, Cyril, along with their young daughter, Abby, and their astute, devoted housekeeper and friend, Agnes Harris. Life in the thoroughbred stables has also carried on for head groom and trainer Manfred Montgomery and stable foreman William Brown, as they continue their ongoing quest to bring Duff Taylor, Landon Lawn's exclusive jockey, to justice for suspicious involvement in an unsolved racing incident from his past. However, Duff has managed to add to his growing page of secrets, that of which is about to be revealed within these exciting pages. So, I hope, give it a chance. If you enjoyed The Perils of Autumn, you're definitely going to like Return to Autumn. And the second part, Return to Autumn 2, will be coming out this coming March 2023. And so I hope you will watch for that. I will check my website, rusty-blackwood.com, and for updates on that novel and the release of that novel and different information about it as we progress along towards March. So, for those of you, this morning I'm having some beautiful tea here in my little Christmas Scotty cup. And so, cheers, everybody. Happy solstice, happy Yule, and a very Merry Christmas coming to each of you. It's a nice, bright day here in Niagara for a change. We've had we've had so much cloud and day after day of cloud and cover and cool and damp, and there's been an awful lot of illness. As you can hear in my voice, I'm still raspy a little bit because I've finally gotten over whatever it was that I had. Possibly it was COVID, I don't know. But, I managed, and you keep your immune boosted as best you can, and that's what you're given an immune system from God, and it gets you through, and it did for me. There was days that I just did not feel well at all. It just drains your energy, and you don't really want to do anything but just lay around and, hope for better days. But, everything in its time and everything in its balance. And finally today, I'm feeling much, much better. I've got my energy back. And I'm just so happy to see the sun shining outside, especially for solstice, very first day of winter. We've no snow. They're calling for a large snowstorm to come through southern Ontario over Christmas. It's supposed to start late tomorrow. I understand, if I read it right. Um, Late tomorrow afternoon or tomorrow evening, supposed to begin here as rain, snow, and just go to snow and continue to keep piling up and piling up and piling up over Christmas. You know, I of course they have to give the warnings of how severe it may become. They're supposed to be, they're calling for quite high winds, and of course, when it's snowing, you've got no visibility at all. It really diminishes your visibility, and so for those of you that are going to be driving any length of distance over Christmas, if this storm hits, um, please use common sense and be careful. Approach with caution and check ahead to where you're going to be going and find out the road conditions and what is being forecast, and the latest news on the roads and what's going on. And so for me, I just have to travel, just a few blocks away to Jamie and Corrine's, and that's where I go each year for Christmas dinner. And so that's where I'm going to be going. And Jason and Tricia, they're going to be going to her parents who live on the other side of the city, so they've got a little further to go. But I don't worry. Jason is a professional driver, so therefore, he handles all kinds of situations and all kinds of weather. And so the one so that I am concerned about are Corrine and her mother and father. They have to come in from above Grimsby. And so I'm hoping that everything will be fine by Christmas Day. If the storm does come, that the worst of it will be over before Christmas Day, and or even Christmas Eve, because a lot of people celebrate. They get together and have their dinner on Christmas Eve. I know my mother-in-law, God rest her soul, she used to celebrate it on Christmas Eve, and she had the family for dinner on Christmas Eve every year. And my mother used to hold the Christmas dinner on Christmas Day. And so, as I say, if this storm does come, I'm hoping that it will have subsided and be the worst of it through by the time Christmas Eve arrives, and definitely Christmas Day. And so, however you celebrate it, I hope that it will be one of your best yet. Don't let don't let what's going on in the world deter you. Um, you know, what will be will be. Everything will balance out sooner or later. And I'm a firm believer in God, in Christ, and he has us. He's in control. May not seem like it right now, but he is. And and so you got to hold to your faith and hold to your beliefs and continue to move forward and not become, disillusioned or afraid. Um, you know, things will work out. I think in a lot of ways, excuse me. I think in a lot of ways we are. We are. I think it's a little bit better. I don't want to say that the good is yet winning, but um, I definitely believe it will. And I may not see it, but I know it will prevail. And so, enough of that. I hope you like my Christmas tree. I got a new one this year. My one I had last year, it was a pre-lit one, and I'd had it for about 3 or 4 years, and finally I did get Christmas out of it last year. But and even I think I got when I did my New Year's video, I think it was still fine, but then I noticed the lower portion of the lights were no longer working. And so I only had lights at the top and nothing at the bottom. And so I couldn't have that. And when it's pre-lit, you don't know where the problem is. Like when you put your own lights on, which this one, you you have to do that. Um, if there's a bulb burns out, you know where it is and you can change it. And so, but the other one, I couldn't do that with it. And so, I think there again, it's kind of like tried and true, tested type stuff. Like, get down to basics, go back to the older ways because I think they have been proven to work. And so this tree, I had to put it together. It's one of those kind where you go by the color code and you have to hook it in together. You know, these artificial trees, they're all right. They're great, especially if you're, you can't get out to a tree farm or you can't go out into the woods and cut your own, like we always used to do, and which I still love. You cannot beat the real tree. I mean, the smell in the house and just the freshness it gives off. It's just wonderful to be around it. Whereas naturally, an artificial tree is just that, it's artificial. But at least it marks the season. And so you just, do the best you can. This year, I decorated up a little bit more with more old fashioned. I used a lot of the old ornaments that I have of my mother and father's from where I grew up, and then when Mom passed away, well, she had sent a lot of the different ornaments already, divided them between me and my brother, and then after she passed away, I what was left over, I brought home, and this one here is this one is super super old. I hope you can see it. It's got a strip of burgundy down it. It's gold on the top, and it's sort of silver in between there, and it's got some hand painted um, designs around the top. This one up here is another one from, I don't think you can see it, from back home. It's just a bit of a squiggly one. I think I can even pull it into frame, sort of, maybe. I don't think so. But anyway, I hope I'm giving a good enough description. And this one here, this one that you see right here, is my favorite one of all. Um, I remember this from as long as I have memory, um, hanging on my parents' tree. And it's all hand painted. Um, it's just gorgeous. And I can remember in the burnished orangey gold here. Um, when I was little, I used to go up to the tree and look, really right close to it, and of course it would magnify, and I could see the room and everything, miniaturized in the ball. And I used to think this is just so cool. I didn't understand at that time, of course, what how that happens or anything like that. But I was very taken to it, very, very taken with this ball, and it's got hand painted flowers on it, and it's well, it would be fully as old as these other two that I spoke about. This is another one of my mother's. Here, it's a um, frosted one. It's red with a house and trees and snow on the roof and snowdrifts around the house. And that was all done with dusting technique for on Christmas ornaments that they used to do so long ago that you just don't see that anymore. And here's another one up here. If you can see this one here, I hope you can see it. It's an indented one, and it's all hand painted as well. And they were, excuse me, they were very popular. You used to see them everywhere from the 40s and the 50s, where they had the indentation put into the ball, and I don't know how it was done, um, but it's different because of the dimensions of the ball, and I just love looking at all these old ornaments. Um, a lot of them, there's some on here that my children have made when they were little, and they made in school and brought home for me. And this silver bell here, this is just it's just is no big deal. It's in fact it's plastic. But why I got it was it put me in mind of one that my mother had when I was a little girl, and of course hers was, glass. It was made like these ones, very very fragile, and it was just a silver bell. It had no decoration on it. It was just silver bell, and it picked up the color of the lights, um, and it you could see the reflection of the room, and you could see, the reflection of the other ornaments around it when you would go right up and look at it. And but it lost its life at some point, and so it went by the way. And so when I came across this one, I I remember that's what I thought about was my mother's silver silver bell, and so that's why I got it, and I have it hanging on the tree. And so in the comments below, I hope that you write if you got special memories that you remember um, when you were a child, or even after you were an adult, um, that you remember. Please mark them down, write them down, let me know. You can share them with me, because I would be very interested in hearing what you have to say, because everybody has memories, and everybody has special things that they think about at this time of the year that they remember from their youth, and maybe that special toy or whatever that Santa brought you when you were little. I can remember different things that that I got when I was a little girl. Um, I was very much into stuffed animals, because anybody that knows me knows how much I love animals, and this this one was a teddy bear, and it was huge. It was, heaven's sakes, at the time it was almost as big as I was, and it was turquoise and white, and it had this huge big um, um, turquoise bow around its neck, and it just sat there like with its arms out like this. It was almost like a sort of like a chair, I guess. Like you set him down, like he was movable. His arms and legs would move, but his arms were pretty much stationary, and they were sort of, like this, and but his legs were movable, so you could sit him down, and sit on his legs and sit back against him and use him like a chair. I can remember that. And I had him for the longest time, and I can remember seeing him on a Christmas morning so long ago. And and there was a couple of other things that come to mind. I wish I had them today. It would be so cool, to be able to see my little great grandsons now be able to play with them. And but I guess, you know, they've taken their place. They live in my memory, and and of course now they live in this video because like once I'm not around anymore, nobody's gonna know unless they watch the video and hear me speak about them. Then of course that's maybe the way that they're being preserved. I don't know, but the one was this. It was the next door neighbor, Mrs. Peter, that she was the mother of my best friend Diane, and Diane to this day, like we're still best buddies, and and we don't get to see each other very often. She lives in Prince Edward Island, and that's quite a ways away, and so we have gotten together over the years and spent time together. I've been out there, and she's been back to Ontario, but we don't get to see each other near as much as we should or we would love to or we'd like to. And so Mrs. Peter gave me this. It was, I guess, considered mechanized for the time, and it obviously must have run on a battery or had some kind of wind up mechanism in it that made it go. And it was a beetle, and it was blue, and it had these huge big spots painted all over it. They were in different colors, and it had the antenna stuck out instead of up this way. They were stuck out forward. So wherever this thing would travel on the kitchen floor or wherever, it wouldn't go on carpet, but it would go on tile or hardwood and stuff like that. And and whenever it would go up and get near anything, these antenna would touch, and it would cause the bug to move away and go in a different direction. And oh, I just thought I was really doing it when I got this thing, and and so and I had that thing for eons. Even when I was in my teens, I still had this thing, and I used to have so much fun. I mean, I wasn't playing with it when I was a teenager, but I remember when I was little and playing with it. It just gave me so much joy. I just so much entertainment I got out of that little bug. And if my memory serves me correctly, I put that away. And when my oldest son Jamie was born, I got it out and put it was a battery. Now that I'm speaking about it, it comes back to me. A battery into it, and it still went like it always did, and you know, ricochet off of things that it would touch. And Jamie had a ball with it too. And I don't know what become of it. I didn't have it for Jason when Jason came along, and because it was almost 8 years. There's almost 8 years between my boys, and and by that time, I don't know. I'd moved a couple of times, and maybe it got lost along the way or got left at the farmhouse. And when Mom left the farmhouse to go to her apartment, it's hard to say. It had served its purpose and given so much enjoyment. And but when I think about it, it still brings a smile to my face to know um, that it meant so much to me. And just some simple thing. I think the most simplest of things, regardless of what they are, oftentimes I think are the best because um, they're easy to use. They just give you they help your imagination to put them into all kinds of situations, and makes you think, and just gives you laughs and joy and smiles, and just gives you a good feeling. And when I think of Christmas, um, it does. It's for me. It's sad because Christmas Day was my mother's birthday, and if Mama was here, she would be coming. Let me see, 102, and it's just incredible to think that that many years. It's coming 8 years. It will be 8 years next September 18th since she went on her next journey, and and you know, but that's life, and um, my dad. It will be coming 48 years since my dad. In February, the 1st of February, will be 48 years since my dad went on his next journey, and so it really, it's incredible when you think about that much time has gone by, but it doesn't seem like that much time has gone by, especially that fast. It just feels like it wasn't all that long ago, and yet no, when you stop and think about it and realize just how far, how much time has gone by, and gone by so quickly. And but you can't dwell on that, because if you do, then it's depressing. And uh, and so if I have learned anything over the years since my parents have been gone, it's that of remembering the good times and all the memories that I have of them, and our house, our farmhouse, Grandpa's farmhouse, where I grew up, and I see it so vividly in my mind. It's never changed in my mind. It never will. And those are the good memories. As I say, talking about these old ornaments and the the memories that they trigger, and thinking about different Christmases, not being able to put my finger on any particular one, but or when something happened, what year it was, or anything like that. That's sort of faded. But remembering the people, my grandpa and my Aunt Margaret, my Auntie Babe, and Sarah Margaret, and Mom and Dad and Rick and me, uh, there in this huge farmhouse, and the huge big Christmas tree that my dad would always go out and get every year, in the woods. And one year, at the one side, on the northwest side of the house, was a line of spruce trees that my grandfather had planted when my grandfather was just a young man. And and when I was a little girl, these trees were huge. And I remember one year my dad decided he would top one of them, and so he climbed up the tree and cut the top of one out. And I remember he had to drag it in and out of the house about 3 or 4 times, because he couldn't even stand it up in the house. In the living room, the living rooms had 9 foot ceiling in them. That and the parlor, like all the downstairs, was all 9 foot ceilings, and the upstairs was 8 foot ceilings. And so, and of course, each time he would have to drag it in and drag it out again to cut more off. My mother was spazzing out because there was needles going everywhere. But all the cuttings off of the tree, Dad would, Mom had all these cuts that she had them all over the doors and the windows, all these big boughs, and oh, it was just gorgeous, and and so and by the last time when he went to stand it up, he could get it up, but the top he had still cut a bit on the top so that he could put the star on, and that tree was massive in size, and it's a good thing that the rooms were large because otherwise there would have been no way. But those are things that I remember, and so much snow outside. Oftentimes snow where I grew up, snow would come by the end of October. I can remember some Halloweens, um, walking with my friends in the neighborhood. Walking, you had to have boots on. It wasn't deep, but you still had to wear your boots to walk around because snow was everywhere. And it stayed until mid-April, sometimes late April, before it was gone. And I can remember some of the spring flowers coming up through the snow. And but here in Niagara, it's not quite like that. Get the odd winter that's really bad, but the majority of them, like we get lake effect snow because we're situated between the lakeheads, Lake Erie and Lake Ontario, and so that can make a difference. So I'm going to close this video now because I'm about 5 minutes or more past the 30-minute mark. So I want to wish each of you a very, very Merry Christmas. Please enjoy yourself, enjoy your family, and enjoy your friends. And be in the moment and hold them close to you. If you're fortunate to have kids, if you're fortunate to have grandchildren, and even more fortunate to have great-grandchildren, take advantage of the blessings God's given you and hold them tight to your heart and tell them you love them. It's the most important thing in the world to hear I love you from your children and your grandchildren and even your little great-grand ones. I have 4 grandchildren and I have 3 great-grandsons, and 6 in ages 6, 2, and 8 months, and I just adore them. I can't even begin to find the words to say how much I adore them, because my life goes on in all of them, and my parents and my grandparents and my great-grandparents and before, they're all alive in these people. And when you let yourself think about that, there's your legacy. That's what you contributed, and that is the most important contribution you can make. And so I'll be back next week to do my New Year's video. And so until then, God's blessings to each of you, and enjoy the solstice today. Now we've reached the balance, and now we will slowly see light returning. The days will start to lengthen each day. You won't notice it much until mid-January or so, but the days are getting longer, the daylight is lengthening, and the cycle is continuing again to new birth. And so that's what the solstice is. So enjoy yourselves. Thank you for watching this video. Please like it, and please subscribe to my YouTube channel and help the numbers to grow. Take care, guys. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye for now.